Good morning. It is Sunday, March 1st, 2026, and you're watching the AI News Digest. Today's top stories are coming to us from Mobile World Congress in Barcelona, and they're not about making our phones a little bit faster. No, they're about architecting a fundamentally smarter world. We are seeing, right now, the blueprint for a new global nervous system, one that's being built from the ground up for artificial intelligence. So, let's break down what this new intelligence infrastructure really means for all of us. Here's a look at our headlines today. A brand new 6G alliance is setting out to completely rewire the world specifically for AI. At the same time, Samsung is revealing its plans for fully autonomous factories. In Washington, the US government has just blacklisted a major AI developer, and its biggest rival is stepping in to fill the gap. Plus, Google's Gemini 3 is making some incredible scientific breakthroughs. And finally, a landmark AI regulation just went live in Vietnam, giving us a glimpse of the new rules of the road. All right, so we're starting in Barcelona with our top story, the dawn of what's being called AI-native connectivity. A global coalition has just announced a massive commitment to build out the next generation of wireless infrastructure. But this time, it's not really for people, it's for AI itself. Now, this initiative is being led by some real heavy hitters. Think NVIDIA, T-Mobile, and SoftBank. And they're positioning 6G not just as a speed boost over 5G, but as the foundational fabric for physical AI. The whole idea here is to transform our wireless networks from just being passive pipes for data into a thinking platform. You can almost picture it as a global nervous system that lets autonomous robots, cars, and drones all talk to each other and react in an instant. So how do they do this? Well, the core technology is something called AI RAN. The simplest way to think about it is that they're basically putting a brain directly inside the cell towers and antennas. So instead of the network being managed from some far-off central hub, the network actually manages itself. And all of this is being powered by a huge new AI model from NVIDIA, which gives the entire network the ability to think and adapt all on its own. This chart really lays out what a huge leap this is. I mean, just look at the operational paradigm shift. 5G was all about making networks automated, having them follow a set of pre-programmed rules. But 6G is designed to make them autonomous, able to make their own decisions in real time. It's really the difference between a remote-controlled drone and a fully self-flying one. And that capability is being built right into the network's DNA. And if you want to see what this new kind of infrastructure is going to enable, you don't have to look much further than Samsung. They also just announced their vision for 2030 to transform their global manufacturing facilities into what they're calling AI-driven factories. This means they're going to be deploying a whole new class of specialized robots for literally everything, from logistics and material handling to highly precise assembly tasks.
So, what's the big picture here? Why does this matter? Well, Samsung is basically closing the loop on AI. They're creating a world where the very same intelligence that assembles your phone in an automated factory is the same AI that will live inside that phone as your personal assistant, like the new Now Nudge feature we're hearing about for the Galaxy S26. The creator is literally becoming the companion.
Okay, we're going to turn now to Washington, D.C., where a pretty significant geopolitical rift is widening. We're seeing a major collision between the U.S. government and one of its leading AI developers, and it's sending some shockwaves through the industry. In a directive that came out today, President Donald Trump has ordered all federal agencies to completely sever their ties with the AI startup Anthropic. The Department of War, formerly the Pentagon, has taken it a step further, officially declaring the company a supply chain risk. This all comes after major disagreements over using Anthropic's technology for autonomous weapons and surveillance systems. This move really shines a spotlight on a deep philosophical split in the AI world. On one side, as you can see here, you've got Anthropic. They're taking a principled distance, refusing to cross their own ethical red lines on military use, and now they're being blacklisted for it. And on the other side, you have OpenAI, which is stepping right into that vacuum with what's being called pragmatic collaboration, agreeing to work within the military's framework to secure a major new government contract. A quote from an analyst brief today really underscores the gravity of this moment. It says, the U.S. government signaled that it would not be constrained by the warnings of technology creators when it comes to battlefield deployment. This really feels like a turning point, where national security needs are now officially taking precedence over the voluntary safety pledges that have been coming from the AI labs. And all of this political maneuvering is happening against the backdrop of an absolutely unprecedented intelligence arms race. And this is a race being fought on two new frontiers: On one hand, financial capital, and on the other, pure cognitive power.
$730 billion. Just let that sink in for a second. That is the new reported valuation for OpenAI after its latest funding round. A number like that tells a huge story. Building this frontier-level AI now requires a staggering amount of capital, and it's concentrating an incredible amount of power into the hands of just a few key players.
But you know, this race isn't just about money. It's about raw intellectual horsepower. Google DeepMind just revealed that its specialized model, Gemini 3, is now performing at a gold medal level in both the International Math and Physics Olympiads. So we're well past just processing information here. AI is now becoming a legitimate tool for genuine scientific discovery.
And what's fueling these massive leaps? Well, a key technical breakthrough just came out from OpenAI and AWS. They've solved a long-standing problem called statelessness. Think of older AIs like someone with severe short-term memory loss. They forget everything about your conversation the moment you stop talking. This new stateful model gives the AI a persistent memory, a working context, which allows it to handle really complex, multi-step tasks over time without forgetting what it's supposed to be doing.
And the real-world impact of this is, well, it's profound. Solving this statelessness problem is the critical step needed to evolve AI from a simple chatbot you talk to into a fully autonomous digital employee, one that can manage complex business processes from start to finish without needing constant human handholding. Now, as AI gets more and more powerful, nations all over the world are scrambling to write the rulebook. This is leading to a trend that people are calling sovereign AI, where each country essentially sets its own terms for how this powerful technology can be deployed within its borders.
And this trend brings us to what is probably the central question for the next decade of both technology and geopolitics. Who exactly is going to govern the future of artificial intelligence?
Well, the answer seems to be shaping up around a kind of tripolar global order. We're seeing three dominant models emerge. You have the Brussels model in the EU, which focuses heavily on individual rights and safety. Then there's the Washington model, which is more centered on market dynamics and competition. And finally, the Beijing model, which, as you might expect, prioritizes sovereign security and national stability above all else.
And a perfect example of this new sovereign approach is coming from Vietnam, where a landmark AI law officially enters into force today. Some of the key provisions include a risk-based management system, a mandate for clear labels on all AI-generated content, an outright prohibition on using AI for deception, and the creation of a national registry for any high-risk AI systems.
Finally tonight, let's take a quick look at how all these massive industrial and geopolitical shifts are starting to filter down to the consumer world in a segment we're calling Your Agentic Future. First up, Apple is teasing a special Apple experience for this week, which is expected to be the launch of a new iPhone and a new smart home hub. But what's interesting is that behind the scenes at MWC, they're also quietly demoing their own 6G capabilities, getting ready for this new AI-native world we've been talking about.
And reports say Meta is bringing back its smartwatch, but this time with Meta AI baked right in. They're also apparently developing agentic shopping tools, which is basically an AI assistant that will go out and shop for you, finding products it thinks you'll want based on your life, even before you start searching. All of this really points to a future that's captured perfectly in this quote. The next phase of the internet will be populated by non-human economic actors. And believe it or not, we are already seeing the first signs of this, with new blockchains being built specifically to let AIs pay each other directly for services. The lines between technology, the economy, and our society are blurring faster than ever. That's our AI News Digest for Sunday, March 1st. Thank you for watching.